My name is Gillian Cyphus. I'm a planning officer with West Lothian Council. I've been there for about 16 years. We don't work on a major local team split. We work on an east-west split. So I work in our west team, deal with all planning applications right up to minerals or waste, landfill, large-scale settlement expansions. And I have never dealt with a process agreement in my life. We do it slightly differently, and I'm going to just talk you through that process as a kind of project plan for each application. I'm going to talk to you about how we got to that stage, so what drove us to use that process, how we started off looking just specifically at major applications, how we then rolled that out into generic applications using an SPG and key performance sheets, and where we are now with enterprise and electronic working, and then a couple of quick conclusions about our journey. So there are drivers for change. Firstly, it was to do with some supermarket applications that we got in. I'll talk a bit more in detail about those. But it really made us think that we needed to be in control of this process. We all work in a very target-driven culture, and historically that's been about the end, the 2-month or the 4-month statutory target, which doesn't leave a lot of scope for once you've gone past that target, and it also doesn't really reflect what your customer, in terms of the applicant, the developer, might be looking for in terms of a longer timescale might be fine, they might need a shorter timescale. So it's really to think about that and this idea of tracking average timescales. How can we do that better? We had some in-house influences. Our building standards team are top in the country, very good at what they do, and our management team instructed us to look at them and see if we could learn from what they were doing. And also some external influences. My brother works for RMS, for the SINs, and he couldn't believe the way in which we did process manage our applications. He works in the delivery of training projects, and it's very much about project delivery, and some of the stuff that he was saying was really interesting, and it just kind of struck a chord with me that we are very much focused on getting something done by an end date, but without this delivery in the middle. Obviously there's a lot of new technology as well that we need to harness, and that's influenced us too, and I think probably all local authorities, planning departments are influenced by budget savings and cost cuttings at the minute. So in terms of the application specific, we had 9 applications for supermarkets in one time. Some of them were within outline plan applications for a large settlement expansion, some of them were detailed applications. They were split across 2 case officers who'd come in at different times, but they were all very crucial in influencing the delivery of the local plan strategy, because where the supermarket went was going to impact on who would put other things in which of these applications, which permissions in principle would be successful. So we felt that we really needed to determine all those applications at the same time, and we needed to take control of that process. So it was a decision we took during the process, and once they were all in, we fixed a date for when do we want to determine these planning applications, and we worked backwards from that, setting a date by you've got to give us all your information by this point, and we'll assess it by that point. And it worked really well. It allowed us to get the applications determined. We ended up, I think, only having to deal with 1 appeal, because it was quite a clear process, everybody understood, and they were all assessed at the same committee. It worked quite well in terms of fairness. We actually won an internal award for that project team. So we thought, well, that worked really well, let's try that again. Did it again on another supermarket application, this time in Whitburn, but this time we identified it at the pre-application stage and said, well, if that's when you want your consent, you need to give us this, this and this, and it needs to be in by that point. And like Emma said at the start, just really looking at stages within the process in order to get you to the end point. It also included a list of information for them to submit with the planning application. Then we looked at how can we roll this out to all our other applications, and so rather than looking at processing agreements, we have what's called a key date sheet that sets out, it's in every application file, and it sets out all the kind of critical dates of the various tasks within a planning application. So your site visit, we say you should do that within 21 days. It sets out when your consultation responses are coming back. And obviously you can look at that and then say, well, we'll pass that date now, I don't have my consultation responses back, or I do have them, are they raising issues, or I don't have them, do I need to chase them up? We introduced something called an initial crit, which you'll recognise we kind of stole from building standards. So we said at 4 weeks we would do an initial assessment of that application, identify any issues, identify any developer contributions, things that might be in a legal agreement, where we may need more information, or where something's just completely unacceptable, we would be able to make an early determination on it. At that stage, we'd ask for any more information, and we were given quite a tight deadline for people to submit that to us, or at least to acknowledge that we had asked for it and to say when it would be coming. So for example, if we've asked for some kind of habitat survey, obviously we're not going to turn that around in 15 days. but we would expect them to tell us within 14 days that yes, we're doing it, or no, we're not going to do it. And also the dates for concluding our assessment and putting it to committee. We tried to take a slightly different approach than we had done about committees, and it's good to hear that some of you are also doing this, where you look at when you want to determine it by, and then when do you have to get it to committee by. Because before that, it had very much been your application is going along, and then all of a sudden you think, oh, I've got to take it to committee, when's the next available committee date, which might mean that you've missed your targets for dealing with it. So this was very much, this is my end point, which committee in advance of that do I have to get it to? And the target was in big letters at the bottom. So that, it worked quite well in terms of the dates that we use as an internal document. We'd also done an SPG off the back of that, trying to explain to our applicants that we were doing that, and so it's really important that you comply with our timescales, and please don't hassle us in week 3 for an update on how your planning application is going, because we haven't got one yet, but we promise we'll give you one in week 4 or week 5. But the SPG wasn't really very well publicised. Our customers aren't really all that aware of it, and it's not really been all that consistent how it's been, how the applications have been dealt with. So internally it's worked very well, but in terms of using it as a tool for our customers, it's not been such a success. So where we are now is we have Enterprise. I know that 1 or 2 other people have mentioned that they're using Enterprise. Anyone else? Enterprise using it? Yeah, so for those of you who don't, or for those of you who've got it, it's amazing, isn't it? For those of you who haven't got it, it's basically just a traffic light system that fires off different tasks to you, and you can keep an eye on where you're at, what you're supposed to be doing. It can be set to do a task or to perform an action on any field in your uniform or acronym database. So we got that in, and we thought this is quite a powerful tool. How can we use this to make sure that we're tracking more of the stages within the process, so from validation to the determination? And we decided that as we had that, we would also confuse everybody by going paperless at the same time. I know that 1 or 2 local authorities are already there, 1 or 2 will be thinking about it. So we mapped out our entire process, as we're all doing today, in one day. One day here, it took us about 4 weeks in our office. Our performance manager is process map happy. She gets very excited about process map, and when she finished the process map, which was done on a wall, so it's about like 7 sheets of paper down, she took a selfie of herself with the process map and posted it on Facebook because she's that excited about it. We took all of the stages of processing a planning application apart. So how does it get validated? How does the consultation process go out? What do we do with that when those go back? And we set out KPIs for some quite small stages in the process, and service level agreements for every time that planning application leaves our team. So if it goes to the scanning team, it's the central admin team, we've got a service level agreement for information being scanned and back to us. And we stuck the process all back together again. It doesn't look dramatically different from how it did, but this kind of idea of an initial crit is now really key, and we can all be monitored on, are we doing that? Are all the officers doing that? Are we getting back to their customers at the 4 or 5 week stage to say, here's this issue, I need this, you've got to do this, or this isn't acceptable. And like I say, it's task driven in terms of traffic lights instead of paper driven. So we won't have any paper at all come Monday. That's the plan. The benefits of that, like I say, it gives better scrutiny of each of the stages within the process, and it allows for easy monitoring, so our manager or anyone in the team can have a look and see who's got red lights for their initial credit. So this application's been in for too long now, we've not responded to the applicant. So we can keep track of all those different stages. It allows for early identification of any issues, so that should indeed speed up the process and make it faster and more efficient. And hopefully, with the relaunch of the SPG, sort of setting this out in stone that we will contact our customers, it'll stop them wondering what's happening with their application in the first few weeks. If we can sort of say, yeah, definitely, we will be in touch with you, and if we do that consistently, then that should work quite well. It's been a bit of a culture change for colleagues, though not all of them are entirely enthusiastic about it. So just to kind of sum up, you do need to get that buy-in from your management team, from all your colleagues, to make sure that you're all being consistent, and because it will only really be beneficial if you apply that consistently. You can't tell customers, don't chase us for a response at 3 weeks if you never get back to them until week 7, or if you leave it till week 8 to do your site visit and then you identify someone to chase up your consultees and then you identify responses, it's not going to be helpful. And if it's done properly, then it should be quite a useful tool for customer satisfaction too. But as we implement it on Monday, it's maybe a little bit early to tell that yet.
Thank you very much. Right,